Uh, Record started. Now, components of good governance. Last class, we discussed about definition of good governance. So, what are the components of good governance that should be implemented in the governance system? And if we find out the components and if we ensure the components in the governing process, then we can easily ensure good governance in the society. And Kamal Siddiqui, in his book, Local Governance in Bangladesh, mentioned some components. And he also mentioned some bilateral organizations consideration, as well as some multilateral organizations considerations. So as multilateral organizations, they considered good governance as the sound economic management. So this is the component, key component of good governance. That means the economic management of a state should be sound. It should be sound. Sound means in all respect, the economic management system should be good. That is based on accountability. This is clear thing. Our clear is economic sound management system that indicates your management system should be accountable. Your management system should ensure participation. Your management system indicates predictability. That means predictable legal framework as well as transparency. So we saw definitions of good governance and we saw all of these elements in the definitions. Some bilateral organizations found at least 5 elements of good governance, such as democratization. Okay, this is new thing. This is new thing. Democratization. Without democracy, good governance cannot be ensured. But it is said that democracy is the alternative of democracy. In a modern welfare era in the world, we cannot deny the importance of democracy. And democracy is considered as the only alternative of democracy. Democracy is not such concept as very universal. Democracy depends on society, democracy depends on culture, and every country's democracy is not all countries' democracy are not same. So democracy is not a unique thing. Democracy is a dynamic thing. But the process of democratization should be there. There should be recognition and implementation process of human rights. So human rights is very, very important component of good governance. The rule of law. The governance without rule of law. Can you imagine good governance? So there must be rule of law provisions. There must be practice of rule of law. That means everything should be determined. Everything should be dealt in accordance with the provisions of law. So law will get prevail over all things. Even head of the state, even the government should be run under the law. So law will get the priority. This is rule of law. Not only that, in the modern concept, rule of law means many, many things. So we have another chapter on rule of law, and there we'll get some idea on rule of law. So the governance must keep all the development a process of rule of law. Cuts in military expenditure and probity. In military purpose, you must not give huge fund. Rather, you must cut funds for military purpose. Military purpose cannot give you welfare in the society. So huge allocation for military purpose is ultimate result of misallocation, ultimate result of poor governance. And probity is another important components of good governance. Probity means honesty. So these are the 5 elements. One is democratization. Second is human rights. Third is rule of law. Fourth is cut in military expenditure. And fifth is probity. Bilateral organizations consider these 5 components of good governance as mentioned by Kamal Siddiqui in his book, Local Governance in Bangladesh. Then OECD, OECD considered a good number of things as component of good governance. The promotion of democracy, common, common bilateral organization we saw, they mentioned democracy. So promotion of democracy, there must be a system of democracy, and there must be a system to promote democracy. Democracy is a dynamic thing. Democracy is not universal thing. So it depends on the development of the society. It depends on the demand of the society, demand of the people. So there must be a system for promotion of democracy in the society. And the society, there should be pluralistic approach. Democracy really is very good thing. Due to democracy ensures the majority opinion. Democracy ensures the existence of more types of plural communities, plural societies. So pluralistic is important element. Good governance is strengthening of transparent, accountable, efficient, and effective national and local government. Huh? Your system must ensure transparency. Your system must ensure accountability. Your system should be efficient. Huh? And effective national and local government system must be practiced in your governing system. The promotion of respect for human rights, already discussed. There must be recognition of human rights. There must be a system to implement human rights. Not only that, there must be a system to promote respect for human rights. This is very philosophical. The reinforcement of rule of law. There should be a system to follow the rule of law that includes fair and accountable legal and judicial system. So there should be fair legal system. There should be accountable legal system. There should be fair, independent, and impartial judicial system in a good governance society. The society where good governance prevails. The promotion of independent media. So independent media is important element of good governance. Independent media can play a good role to ensure good governance, can make the government accountable, can make the government transparent. So there must be a system to promote the independent media. Media is considered as third governance, as third government. So you cannot ignore the role of media. Rather, in your governance system, you must have a system of promotion of independent media. And there should be a system of dissemination of information. If your governance doesn't enough available system to disseminate information, then you cannot claim that your governance is good. Yes, you cannot find a society around the world where is no corruption. But where we can say the governance is good, where there is effective anti-corruption mechanisms. So the state governance where they can effectively protect and bring the offenders, wrongdoers, that means the corrupted people, before the law effectively. The governance system is mostly good. Efforts to reduce excessive military expenditure, already discussed. So these are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 elements of good governance determined by OECD. World Bank World Bank determined several elements of good governance. Legitimacy. This is nothing. Legitimacy. You may have a system. You may have a democratic system. Your system may be accountable. Your system may be transparent. Yes, you may have some effective anti-corruption initiatives. Yes, you are thinking so sustainability. Yes, you are ensuring equality. Yes, there is a system of empowerment. Everything is there. But the system should be legitimate. A legitimate expectation should be ensured in the society. Your governance system should be legalized. Everything should be established in accordance with the provisions of law, with the due process of law. So legitimacy is an important thing of good governance. Prescribed by World Bank. Accountability, already discussed. Transparency, already discussed. Accountability means there should be a system to ask the officials what you are doing or what you have done. So accountability means ask. There is a system to ask. There is a system to bring the wrongdoer. If a government official or a concerned person violates any rules or their functions may infringe the rights of the citizens. So there must be a system to ask them. This is called accountability. Transparency. There must be a system of transparency. What do you mean by transparency? What is meant by transparency? Transparency means availability of information. Transparency doesn't mean that everything should be clear and cut, clear. Not that. Transparency means there is a system to make the information available. There is a proper system to provide information. There is a perfect system to provide actual information. There must be a system to provide effectively information to the beneficiaries, to the citizens. Lack of corruption, already discussed. Competence, okay, this is an important thing. Competence is another important element of good governance. The governance system, the person who are involved with the governance, they must have, they should competent. They should be competent in their functions and efficiency also. Without efficient personnel, you cannot ensure good governance. You may have governance, you may have huge number of people, but if they are not competent, if they are not efficient, then you cannot ensure good governance. So these are the very, very important elements of good governance. And you cannot deny any of the elements of good governance. Decentralization. There should be a process of decentralization. And then decentralized governance can ensure good governance. Central government cannot ensure welfare for all its citizens. So decentralization is, we have another chapter on decentralization. And next class, we'll discuss about decentralization. So decentralization is very, very important. There must be a system to deliver. There must be a system to transfer power from center to local. There must be a system of division of power among several authorities so that they can easily perform. They can easily meet the demand of the local people. They can meet the demand of the periphery people. There should be sustainability. In your governance system, if you ensure development, but if the development is not sustainable, if the development is not environment friendly, if the development doesn't meet the demand of the people, will it be considered sustainable? No. So you must ensure sustainability in your governance system. There should be a system of equality. Equality should be the ultimate goal of a governing system, of a governance system. So equality is considered as very, very important. And if you want to ensure equality in the society, in first phase, you must ensure equity. Equity means you must provide the aid, you must provide the goods, you must provide the service to the backward people more than the forward people. So with a view to ensure equality, you may take some strategy of equity, but your goal should be determined equality. Empowerment. Your governance system must recognize, your governance system must address the process of empowerment. Empowerment system can make its citizen able to participate in the governing process. If you fail to make your citizen competent, if you fail to make your servicemen inefficient, then you cannot think about good governance. So you must have a system to empower your people, to give them training, to give them education, to involve them with the governing process. And we have another important chapter on empowerment. And this chapter will discuss vividly on empowerment. And there should be a system of participation. In a pluralistic society, there are good number of peoples in the society. So if the governance system doesn't include all types of all types of people in the society, then you cannot really accommodate a desire and expectation of all peoples, and ultimate result will not be good. Mr. Hawke and others wrote a book, and in his book, he mentioned some important things and good human governance, and he considered human governance as good governance. And he gave three components of human governance, namely good economic governance, good civic governance, and good political governance. This is very intellectual definitions, intellectual components. Good economic governance. That means state governance, basically three types: economic, civic, and political. So economic governance should be good. Economic management system, financial management system should be good. Should be good means accountability, transparency, predictability, democratization, everything should be there. In case of civic governance, that means the civil affairs of the state, there should be accountability, there should be transparency, there should be a system of participation, there should be a system of democracy, democratization, and in political governance. So without politics, can you imagine a state? Without politics, can you imagine rights of citizens? Without politics, can you imagine welfare of the state? No. So human beings are called political beings. So political governance is important governance in a society. And this system should be good. Good means there should be accountability, there should be transparency, there should be lack of corruption or effective anti-corruption initiatives, etc., etc. D. Bandyopadhyay. D. Bandyopadhyay and other scholars gave huge components on good governance. Accountability, already discussed. Both in financial and political, already discussed. Transparency, both political and financial, already discussed. Easy access to information. That is part of transparency. Easy access. In governance system, there must be a system to easily access to the information. And modern age is called age of information. So information should be available. And people should have easy access to information. Popular participation in decision making and implementation. Okay, your governance may ensure participation. Whether the participation is popular or not popular, or forcefully, or just like log dekhane. No, there should be a system of popular participation, effective participation, participation in willingly, very legal way, that is legitimate participation, eligible participation, responsive participation, that is popular participation. There should be responsiveness, another important thing, responsiveness, that means the competence. Competence is very, very important elements of good governance. So the organs of the state, so the person who are involved with various organs of the state, they should be very responsive. Responsive doesn't mean responsibility. Response means they must comply their functions with very competent way, with a very efficient way. যোগ্যতা নিয়ে কোনো প্রশ্ন করার সুযোগ নেই, সবাই খুব যোগ্যতা সম্পন্ন. That is responsiveness. Efficient delivery system of service and goods. State is basically concerned with providing service, but the service should be efficient. The service should be good. Delivery system should be effective. Online delivery system or very time-bound, efficient, time-bound delivery system. খরিদ্দার লক্ষ্যে এরকম একটা ব্যাপার, জনসেবাই আমাদের মোটো, এরকম একটা ব্যাপার হতে হবে. So এখানে people, they are honorable client. The state should think, the governance should think, যে জনগণ, the people, they are very honorable client of us, and we must provide them service with a very efficient way. Enforcement of rule of law, supplanting the rule of whims and caprices of rulers. There must be a system of law, rule of law. That means everything should be dealt with in accordance with the provisions of law, not in accordance with the rules of whims and caprice of the government, of a person, of a minister of the government. Client and citizen satisfaction, that should be another important elements of good governance. Already I discussed. An overall caring and human ambience, promoting an equalitarian and equitous social and economic order. Very, very important thing. An overall caring and human ambience, promoting an equalitarian and equitous social and economic order. Your governance system keep the social and economic order. And the objectives of this order should ensure equality. And they must follow the strategy of equity with a view to achieve the message of achieve the basic thing of equality. আমাদের আর 10 মিনিট সময় আছে, আমরা 10 মিনিটের মধ্যে ইনশাআল্লাহ শেষ করে ফেলব. Oh, United Nations Development Program, UNDP. UNDP gave 5 elements of good governance. How many? 5. Legitimacy and voice. Legitimacy and voice. Already legitimacy discussed. Voice, that means people must raise their voice. There must be a system of raising voice by its citizens, by its citizen groups, civil society groups. If there is no voice, there is no good governance. If there is no voice, the bureaucrat can do everything. So there must be a system of voice. Directions. Second element is directions. Leaders and public have a broad and long-term perspectives on good governance and human development, along with a sense of what is needed for such development. So there must be a principles of directions. They must have a dream before the governance. What really they are doing, for what? So there must be a directions behind this. From the state, there must be have directions. Performance. Institutions and process try to serve all stakeholders. An institution produce result that meet needs while making the best use of resources. So governance is considered as a very performance-based governance. The performance should be effective. Performance is considered very essential, important of good governance. Accountability, already discussed. Fairness, that means there should be a system of impartiality. There should be a system of fair. There should be a system of independent. So all people should be dealt before the law equally, very independently, very fairly, in respect of all systems, in respect of every systems, in judicial systems, in administrative systems, in facing against, say for example, corona pandemic. Every citizen of the state, irrespective of any political affiliation, they must be treated equally, fairly, there should not be discrimination among its people. Oh, primacy of law and order. Not only that, primacy of law. Law and order are the vital components of good governance. Primacy of law, that means that is another indication of rule of law. And law and order, this is important thing. So the society where there is no law and order, where there is chaos in the society, trouble in the society, this is not good governance. So law and order is an important thing of good governance. Parliamentary democracy is considered as very, very important components of good governance in a modern state. The parliament should be effective. There should be a system of poverty alleviation. There should be responsible media. There should be the system of women empowerment. Ethical society concept should be prevail in the society. The society where there is no ethical person, where there is ethical mechanism. So the society must keep the concept of ethical manner, independence of judiciary, a worshipful society. The society where there is no worshipful organs, the society where there is no system of raising boys, the society where there is no system to make criticism. This is not the system of good governance. So all are the important components of good governance. And there are 4 pillars of good governance. Among all the components of good governance, only 4 elements have been considered as the basic pillars of good governance. And good governance is based on the 4 basic pillars in 4 different sides. Purbo, Poshchim, Uttor, Dakshin jodi dhoro. So good governance is based on 4 pillars. Forget about all other pillars. Baki gulo kom kom thakle hobe. Na thakleo you can claim good governance good. But 4 system must be there. 4 pillars must be there. One is transparency. That means there should be a system to provide information available. There should be a system to provide actual information. There should be a system to provide reliable information. There should be a system to provide real information. There should be a system to provide understandable information. তুমি এক জায়গায় চাকরি দরখাস্ত করবে, তুমি এক জায়গায় ব্যবসার জন্য দরখাস্ত করবে. So there is a competition. So if there is a competition, there should be availability of information. তুমি ইনফরমেশন যদি গোপন রাখো তাহলে তো গভর্নেন্স গুড হবে না. তাহলে there will be no competition. তাহলে তো there is no equality. So এগুলো আমাদের চ্যাপ্টার আছে, আমরা পড়ে নেব. So this is important pillar of good governance. Second is accountability. Accountability means there should be a law, there should be a system to make the officials answerable. There should be a system to bring them before justice. যদি কেউ অপরাধ করে তাকে বিচারের আওতায় আনতে হবে. It can be internal, it can be external. যে কোনো ভাবেই হোক, they must be brought before the law. This is accountability. Third is predictability, already discussed. There must be predictable legal framework in the society. Huge law in the society. We need huge law, fixed rule, so that people can easily know law in advance. They can understand their state system, governance system in advance. So this is important thing. You must have idea on the purpose of your government, purpose of the state, or the legal provisions, existing legal provisions. How? There should be availability of law in the society. So this is predictability. Third important pillars. And fourth important pillar is participation. So you must ensure in your governance process participation of all types of people. Men, women, rich, poor, white, black, long, small, Chaudhuri, তারপরে তোমার নমশূদ্র, এভরি সমাজটা সুন্দর তো সকলকে নিয়ে, বাট হাউ উইল ইউ এনশিওর দ্য পার্টিসিপেশন? তাদেরকে তুমি বাড়ি থেকে ধরে এনে বলবা যে ইউ পার্টিসিপেট? দিস ইজ নট দ্য সিস্টেম, দিস ইজ নট দ্য সিস্টেম, this is not the system. System is that you must empower the people first. You must provide education to the people. You must have ensured the environment through which people can make them able to take decision as they wish. This is the system of empowerment. So empowerment and participation is very, very important thing to make the governance good. আমাদের মাত্র 10 মিনিট সময় আছে। My presentation is finished, has been finished. So now your time to ask any question. If you have any question, you feel free to ask me.
আসসালামু আলাইকুম স্যার, আমি লিমা।
হ্যাঁ, বল।
স্যার, গুড গভর্নেন্সের ক্ষেত্রে বলা হচ্ছে যে এলিমেন্টস এর মধ্যে হচ্ছে পার্লামেন্টারি ডেমোক্রেসি, অর্থাৎ যেসব ডেমোক্রেসি নাই সে দেশ কি গুড গভর্নেন্স নয়?
নো নো নো, ওই যে বলা হচ্ছে যে কি বলা হচ্ছে যে দি গভর্নমেন্ট, সেই গভর্নমেন্টকে কি বলা হচ্ছে? ডিক্টেটর গভর্নমেন্ট। He may provide huge foods, huge basic necessities for the people, but this is not considered as the core element of good governance. So democracy is the very, very important elements of, and there should be a system of democratization. There is a system to improve the democracy. Good. Okay. Any question? Any question? Bolo. একটু জোরে করো, আমরা শুনতে পাচ্ছি না।
Sir. Sir, if you